Kim here from CustomDollBaby.com. I'm back for the second time today. So I'm still blushing. If you just saw the first video, I had the time to show you how I create the blushing color as well as how I apply it to the legs. I think one of the challenges of blushing is knowing where on the doll to put it, so I decided to come back and record a second video, still doing that second blushing layer, but this time putting it on the face as well as the hands. So hopefully that'll be helpful to you as you are blushing your dolls. When you're creating a portrait doll, the blushing stage, particularly this blushing stage, is a time when you really need to make sure you have the picture of the original baby in front of you. So I conveniently have Elizabeth on my tablet so I can see the areas that I'm going to need to blush on her face. So you can see that there is blushing in her eyelids and around the eyes. There's some on her nose, some around the mouth. But she's got some light areas on her cheeks. She's got some light areas in her temple. So we're going to work the blush layers in a way that recreates the pattern that we're seeing on her face. Okay, so now that we're happy with the blushing color we've created, let's go ahead and paint the face. So we were just looking at the photo. And I actually still have the photo, open on my tablet that I can look at and reference as we're painting. So on this baby, we have the color for her cheeks that run to her from her nose and around the base of the cheeks like this. So I'm very lightly dabbing the color on. You want it to be loose, but not so loose that it's dripping all over your doll. This has a little bit of drip to it, but it's not too bad. And then I'm going to take a sponge, wring it out a little bit so it's dry, and pounce that color around. And what I'm doing as I pounce it is I'm not only taking it off, but I'm also smearing it. And I'm going to get an even cleaner sponge and use that to feather out the edges. So we always want our colors to blend to a seamless finish. So having a dry brush or a clean sponge will allow us to do that. Okay, see that? That's nice. We're gonna do the other side so they match. Mix up the paint because it tends to separate. Some on the brush. And I'm going to start a little lower this time and use the sponge to drag it to those areas by the ear and by the nose. Okay, so I've got my little arc and I use the sponge to pounce it off and spread it around. So I'm using my sponge to bring it back up to the bridge of the nose and also back to the ear. And there's a little bit of color on the sponge, so this lets me carry it to a wider area than what I painted. And then once I've reached where I want to be, I'm going to use that clean sponge again to feather it to a seamless finish. Smear this one around a little bit more while it's still wet. Okay, so there's the cheeks. Same deal on the chin. I'm going to add a little spot here and pounce it in. And what's so lovely when you're blushing around the lips is that you really create a nice, I don't know what to say, it's a nice pattern to see pale spots around the mouth that get rosier as you get away from the mouth. It just looks really nice and lifelike. Okay, so now we're gonna get around the eyes and the eyelids. Now this is a small area, so we're not gonna go in there with a sponge. So we don't want too much paint and we want to control where we put it. So there's where your liner comes in. And I'm actually looking at the photo here. I'm gonna put it towards the end of this crease here. And then I'm gonna get my dry brush from yesterday and use that to blend it around the surrounding areas. So it's good that I already created the creases, or already painted the creases, because now as I go back and blush over and into them, I've already got color that I'm adding to. So I'm not trying to get both the creases and the blushing in the same shot. Put a little bit more here. It's nice to leave this part white. It's a very reflective area on the baby, and by leaving it a lighter color, you really bring out that effect more. You want to work fast with the blushing. Once it dries, it's not as movable, and it's critical to be able to move your blush color, so try to keep a good pace. Okay, so this whole eyelid section here, or brow bone I guess, on the baby is blushed, so we're going to go ahead and paint that. Now say you're doing your blushing and you're thinking, okay, now everything around the blushing is starting to look way too pale. That's okay, because you can always go back and do another generalized blush layer to make up for that. And get the other side too. Don't want to put too much paint. Almost looks like I'm painting freaky little red eyebrows here. Now we're gonna blend it. All right. Then we're gonna get the tip of the nose. And she's starting to look so neat. I mean, I really love blushing because it just really brings the doll to life, I think. Okay. So anyway, you get the idea. I'm going to continue to study the photo and pick out other areas to blush. We're also going to want to get the ears, so similar to what we did yesterday with the creases, but now we're doing a much bigger area. So I'd like to get around this top part of the earlobe. And because it's a blushing layer, we're going to use the brush to drag it out and around the top of the earlobe. Okay. And we'll do that on the other side too. It's also fun to blush around these little fat rolls. They're kind of small areas, so want to use your liner again and the dry brush, and that just really helps to bring those fat rolls out. Does that look nice? That's very pretty. And here is our completed head. Hopefully you can see the blushing. We have it around the eyes, we have it on the cheeks. I also went ahead and started blushing the lips. I like to work the lips in layers so they don't get too dark too quickly. I think I'm going to feather out that lip line a little more. I want it to be a little more gradual. But we've got the lips, the chin. I blushed all around the neck. I added more colors to the ears, which I really like a lot, adding more of the blushing around the edge there. And then to basically even out the rest of it, I diluted the blush color a little bit and ran that, just pounced it around her forehead and the top of her head. So now every inch of this doll has been blushed, and the blush is darker in our sweeter spots. It's missing from spots that we want to be pale, and it's just blended very nicely all together for a nice smooth complexion. So I've been comparing this head to the picture of the baby, and they're looking really similar. So very excited about that. We've successfully blushed our portrait doll. So we will be curing the head. I'm gonna tweak some little things that I want to fix, but we're gonna cure the head in the oven at 250 degrees for 8 minutes. And when we come back, we'll start doing the accent blushing on the head. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.